Several Jewish organizations are protesting at Trump Towers in New York in support of detained Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil. Police have arrested several protesters. Dozens of Jewish demonstrators are inside the building and chanting slogans in support of Palestine. Mahmoud Khalil is a Columbia University student who remains in detention as the US government tries to deport him for his role in campus protests in support of Palestine. Well, I'll just give you a little bit more background because, of course, not every viewer will know what this story is about. These are Jewish groups that have come out in support of Mahmoud Khalil. Now, he was a prominent figure during the Gaza war protests at Columbia University, and this was in the spring of last year. And this case has drawn global attention because the Trump administration arrested and then have moved to deport this student. Now, the case has raised questions, of course, about free speech on college campuses and the legal process that would allow for the deportation of a US permanent resident, which Mr. Khalil is. Now, Mr. Khalil will remain in detention in Louisiana following a court hearing on Wednesday this week, where lawyers argued whether he should be moved back to New York. He was born in Syria, but the Columbia graduate's arrest by immigration agents was linked to Donald Trump's promise to crack down on student demonstrations, which he accuses of being un-American. But of course, this will raise questions. You're seeing pictures now of police surrounding those demonstrators at this protest from this Jewish group. This will raise questions, the case, and then this again with demonstrators here of whether people should be allowed to express their opinions of free speech. And this is what these protesters are saying. Now, this student was involved in a pro-Palestinian protest at the time in 2024, so last year. But these are now people from a Jewish group coming out in support of him, saying that he should be allowed, the student, to express his opinion. Now, Trump has repeatedly alleged that pro-Palestinian activists, including Mr. Khalil, support Hamas, which, of course, he denies this, Mr. Khalil. And Hamas is designated a terrorist organization by the US. Now, the president argues that these protesters, like Mr. Khalil, should be deported, and he calls Mr. Khalil's arrest the first of many to come. And that is the point that is concerning demonstrators and people who fear that other students may be arrested. Well, we can now turn to Kristen Saloomey, who is at this protest. Kristen, what more can you tell us about what's happening there?
Well, the group is very organized. Well, if you look behind me on Fifth Avenue, you can see where the Trump Tower sidewalk has all been blocked off. You see the heavy police presence outside of the building. And in the distance, you can see the red T-shirts of the demonstrators who are being led away in handcuffs. They are still clearing the lobby of this building of about 100 demonstrators who took over the lobby with banners calling attention to the arrest of graduate student Mahmoud Khalil, who remains in custody in Louisiana for his work as a student organizer. He's not been charged with any crimes. He has not been accused of any crimes, but he is being held there as the administration attempts to deport him for his organizing activities, which the administration has labeled anti-Semitic. So, Ricardo, if we turn over, you can see across the street there all of the police that are in the street and the barricades. It's a small crowd that's gathered over outside of the barricades here, media that have come, as well as just bystanders. There's a lot of tourists in the area. You might imagine Trump Tower attracts a lot of people. I might be able to grab some demonstrators over here. There's some who came out. Are you willing to talk to us? We are live right now, just so you know. From Al Jazeera.
I already spoke to Al Jazeera. But...
Oh, you can talk to us again then.
Okay.
We are live right now, just so you know.
Nice.
Were you inside with the demonstration?
I was.
And what brought you out here today? Why did you want to be a part of this?
Well, first I'd like to say free Mahmoud Khalil. He's a political prisoner. He was abducted from his home with his 8-month pregnant wife illegally and taken to an undisclosed location. And does that sound like America? I don't know.
Yeah. What's your background? What made you concerned about this issue? And
Well, I was brought up Jewish. I was brought up with a lot of things that weren't true. I had to unlearn them, and it's taken me a lot of years. And now that I'm here, I need to do all that I can. I have a debt to pay.
A debt to pay? What do you mean?
I have a debt for what I grew up with and believed, and what the state of Israel has done, and what they haven't done, and how they're conflating Judaism with Zionism.
Do you feel a responsibility as an American citizen, given Mahmoud is facing deportation now? I mean, this has had a bit of a chilling effect on demonstrations on campus, but then we're seeing other forms of demonstration come out.
That's what they do. They come for the camp. They come for students first. They come to universities. They try to take over universities. Just read some history. Every single fascist regime has done this. They start with the educators and the students because that's where the movement is strong.
What was your name?
Deborah Winger.
Deborah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just realized who we were talking to here. Oh my gosh. Deborah Winger, the actress, thank you so much for coming on.
I like it that way.
See, Susan Sarandon as well was at the protest event yesterday, so we're seeing celebrities as well coming out and speaking up on behalf of the demonstrators and the greater cause of freeing Palestinians and bringing human rights to Palestinians. That's the situation here.
Okay, Kristen, thank you for keeping us up to date. I just want to keep you just for a little bit longer, if I may, because of course it's fast moving there. There's a lot of action happening down there. I just wonder if you could just give us a little bit more information. What do we know about this student from Columbia University? What do we know about him?
I don't know. I don't think we can go across. Well, we know that he's 30 years old, and he was a graduate student studying international affairs at Columbia University. He just finished with his degree in December. He's due to graduate in the spring. He has a wife who's pregnant, 8 months pregnant. And he was an organizer who served as a mediator between the students and the administration after they took over the campus the first time in the spring. They set up a tent encampment there. It sparked a movement nationwide of college protesters doing similar things on college campuses. There were arrests on campus. He helped negotiate with the administration. Disciplinary actions for the students. Professors on campus have described him as a consummate diplomat, a gentle soul, someone who's very concerned about other people, particularly concerned about Palestinians, as he is of Palestinian descent, but was born in Syria and is a citizen of Algeria. Now, of course, the Trump administration has labeled him a Hamas sympathizer, Hamas aligned in his views. That's something that he denies and his lawyers deny. They say he's just working for human rights. And certainly that's the view of the demonstrators gathered here. But it's the crackdown on campuses has just been so heavy that the demonstrators and those who are sympathetic to the cause are finding these other ways now to come out in support of Mahmoud and support of the cause. You could argue that the situation has escalated. Now we're seeing arrests as opposed to just peaceful protests in the street. We're seeing civil disobedience happening here to help advance the cause.
Okay, Kristen Saloomey in New York at that protest. We'll come back if there's any more that we can bring everyone on that story. Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.